Blessed be y'all. This is Jen Freemind. Try this again. My camera wasn't on the first time. I can't see a blooming thing out here because of the sun. But this is a video reply to Ladygravedancer's video on changing paths. I have thought a lot about that in the past while. When I first started out in magic, I really did not want to label myself, and I still feel that labels are very much something that limits a person. And I don't really like labels, but unfortunately everybody asks you, what's your path and so on, because they want to put you in some sort of box that they can understand. I don't necessarily do that, but I probably do to some extent. Later on, when I started going to the Witches Meetup group, people would ask me what my path was, and I hadn't really met a lot of magical people up until then. And I knew a little bit about what's called chaos magic, and I knew that it was very eclectic. It was about taking things from different traditions and things and putting them together. So that's what I picked as my label. And many years later, I really started studying it in depth and realized that that's what I had been doing all along. And it's interesting that I picked that without really knowing much about it, just to have something to tell people. One of the books that I found helpful to me is a book called The Path. It's written by Whitley Strieber. It is about a way of looking at things through the tarot and a path through the tarot, the majors of the tarot. I first picked this book up when it first came out in 2002 and read through it. Got a few things about the interpretations of the cards, but other than that, I really didn't consciously understand the overview of it. It wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I picked up this book again and found that, I've been living this all this time. I've been living this path. The thing is about this path is that if you're thinking about it, you're not really living it. It's hard to explain, but I guess that would be the best definition of it. In the Western way of thinking, we are taught that you have to dedicate yourself to a certain path for the rest of your life. There's the biblical thing about raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old they will not depart. I can see that as being useful for keeping society in order and stuff, but it's really not. It's brainwashing, basically, to make sure that your children are indoctrinated into whatever system that the parents believe is they probably believe it's the only way to be. And like I said, this is a very Western way of thought. In the Eastern way of thought, you go where the path leads you. And yes, there are some people who, in Eastern ways, that dedicate themselves to things for a lifetime, but it is not required. Whereas in the Western way of thinking, it is required. And that is something that I've had to really break down in my own head. Because any system that can free your mind can also enslave your mind. It has equal and opposite power too. So if you get stuck in one way of thinking for too long, you become a slave to that way of thinking. And eventually you decay, you stagnate. You don't go anywhere. Your spiritual growth stops because there is nowhere else to go if you don't think outside the box. I hope this is inspirational to everyone, and hopefully I have articulated this, some of the stuff that Lady Grave Dancer wasn't able to in her video. Thanks for watching, y'all. This is Jen Fremont. Blessed be.